Okay, I just want to give tips for moms who are planning to give birth without the pain reliever of an epidural. So my first tip is to hire a doula. Doulas know a lot of information that we don't know. They know a lot of techniques that we don't know. And they're trained specifically to help mothers get through birth. It's not that we don't know how to give birth. I mean, I guess we really don't know. They're trained to give you the birth you want. Let me put it like that. You tell them what you want, because you can have a doula and get an epidural if you want. It doesn't matter. Birth is a wonderful, amazing experience. And if you want to have an epidural, I think we should all be grateful that epidurals exist. I personally have 4 kids, 2 epidural births, 2 non-epidural births, so I know the advantages of an epidural. The main advantage is the pain relief. You get to relax and just not be in pain. But the thing I didn't like about it was that I wasn't in touch with my body in the moments where I needed to be. Like, there's a time where you're supposed to push and they have to tell you, the doctors and nurses have to tell you. And when you don't have an epidural, whew, you feel that and you know how to push your baby out. But okay, I'm getting off topic. So yes, your doula is there for you. They'll coach you. They'll give you all the tips and the tools that you need. I found mine by Googling it. They actually accepted my insurance for 3 visits prior to birth, and then I think 4 visits after birth, because they also help you with breastfeeding and taking care of the baby. I cannot recommend a doula enough. Everyone get a doula. I honestly believe every single mom get a doula, but specifically if you want to go natural, natural, because it's all natural. But if you want to go without the epidural, get your doula. Secondly, what you're doing right now, looking up information. I searched so many videos. I think I probably watched 100 YouTube videos of moms telling their stories about their birth without epidural, what they did, and you'll get a lot of really good tips like that. But sometimes that can be triggering to watch births and hear birth stories. So only do it if you feel good about it. And if you don't feel good about what the woman is saying, turn off the video. Everyone's different. Different strokes for different folks. That's what I always say. And if you click off the video, no harm, no foul. She doesn't know. You don't have to leave a comment and get all angry and triggered. Like, I would get triggered if I hear a mom talk about something in their birth. When you're pregnant, it's easy to get triggered. And when I was pregnant is when I was watching these. So just be careful with that. But do other research. Look into other articles and things about specifically birth, because you want to know what's going on from the start to the end. Because when I had my first 2 kids, I didn't, and even my 3rd kid really, I didn't really know what was going on. It's like you go in the hospital room and the doctors and nurses, they run the show. They know what's going on and you don't. You're just sitting there following orders, being a good girl, boom, until your baby comes out. And that's why a lot of them like for you to get the epidural. So you can just sit there, be very compliant, calm. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is nice, to surrender and go with the flow. But it's a different experience when you choose to go without the epidural. But do all your research. Get deep. Dive deep. I dive deep. Dive deep to find out your information about birth, epidurals, non-epidurals, everything. And if you want to breastfeed, get your info about your breastfeeding too. But like I said, if you have a doula, and that's another thing, if you have a doula, you can ask them all these questions. It's so nice to have a real human interaction when you have a question, instead of just looking it up and interpreting it. And take everything the doula says with a small grain of salt, because they're a human too. And there's nothing wrong with them giving you their personal opinions and point of views, but they have the knowledge to back the stuff up. So it's not just an uneducated opinion, like if you're asking a random person on the street who knows nothing about this and they can give you an opinion. A doula is going to have an educated, informed opinion. So do your research, get your info. All right, my next tip is, this is an actual tip for during the birth, okay? Because it gets painful. I want you to know that. It might depend on your pain threshold. I don't know. I feel like I have a high one, and it was painful. Not unbearable. I want you to understand that. It was not unbearable. It was nothing that was going to kill me, but it did hurt. Okay? So you want to try to relax as best you can and understand that the contractions are coming in waves, and you have to stay in control. If you lose control, it's easy to slip down a slippery slope into crazy town. And I'll say this from personal experience. My first birth, I was 16 years old, know nothing about birth, naturally went into labor, my water broke, and then the contractions started coming on hours later. I had no idea how to control myself. I had no idea why I was in pain. I was in pain. Like, you hear you're in pain. You have no idea how hard it's actually going to hurt. So had I known what I know now, I wouldn't have lost control. In that moment, I lost control. I screamed. There was one point my mom was trying to comfort me, and I put my hand out like I was going to choke her because I could not control myself. I lost it. But that was my first birth, no epidural. The 2 births in between, epidural. The 4th and final birth, the one that I just had, without the epidural, I stayed in control. Oh, it's like, you know the contraction's coming. Get ready. Breathe through it. It's just a wave. And afterwards, enjoy the time in the middle when there's no contraction. I enjoyed that. I was so happy during the between contraction points. Like, people thought I was freaking nuts because during the contraction I was like, breathe. I was telling myself things. I'm like, it's gonna pass. I'm like, this is already over. You already gave birth. It's done. And then the contraction passed, and in between, oh my God, I was like happy, laughing. I was like, yes, I'm so happy I don't feel the pain at this moment. So stay in control. And how do you stay in control? You know it's going to be uncomfortable. But you also know you're not going to die. And you also know at the end of this, you're going to have your baby. And it sounds corny, kind of. I mean, it sounds corny to me. And I know that during it really does hurt. The contractions, I'm talking about during contractions. So I'm talking about during labor. I didn't even get to the during the pushing part. So during the contractions, stay in control. And your nurses and doctors will be impressed. Because I remember watching videos and when the ladies were in control, like breathing through the contractions, they knew what to expect. Everything was under control. Because yes, it hurts. And yes, I did get sometimes. And I might have yelled, but I didn't lose control like I did the first birth that I had. So, stay in control. Now we can talk about, let me think. Is there anything else during? Okay. I can't think of anything else during the labor because you kind of just wait. You get your contractions, you go through it. And when your doula comes, oh my gosh. When my doula got to the hospital during my contractions, she had me flip into another position. And it was painless after that. And I'm not lying. I would not lie. She told me I was in a birth trance. So she had me go over on all fours, and I put my head on the bed and relaxed. And she massaged my back. Her and my fiance massaged my back. I was paid free, and my baby was about to pop out. So I'm not even kidding. I'm serious. Stay in control. Relax. The doula helped me amazingly. And you're good. So now, a tip for the pushing part. And this will be my last tip. If anybody wants to hear my birth stories, I have 4. Let me know in the comments below, and I will make a video about my birth stories. Okay. But the final tip, this is for the pushing part. I'm going to word it like this. Oh my God, my dog just scared the shit out of me. Marco, okay. Mark, sit. Good boy. He didn't sit. But, okay. So, final tip for pushing. Do not come to play. And I said this when it was time for me to push. And I said, because having 3 babies before my last baby, I knew the pushing part, I want it done. I want it over with. I also saw other ladies in their videos. One woman, her name is Sam Oscarol. I love her on YouTube. She said, we're not going to be here all day when it was time for her to push. So when it was time for me to push, I embodied her at that moment. And she had epidural during her birth, and I didn't. But I embodied her at that moment, and I said, we're not going to be here all day. And they all were like, all the nurses and doctors, because they're all around you on all sides you. Your legs are up in the air. And I said, we're not going to be here all day. And when you push, you push. Bear down. A baby is ripping out of your vagina hole. Feels like it's coming out of your butthole. I don't care. Bear down through it and push. Nothing bad is going to happen. I remember when in one of my previous births, I didn't want to push hard because I was like, my butthole is going to bust open. If my butthole is floating. And the nurse is like, no, you need to push. So this birth, I'm like, draw all your power into your vagina butthole area. They'll tell you when you're doing it right, because I wasn't doing it right at first. They're like, you're not doing it right. You need to push down. I was like pushing up. No, you need to push down. You need to push down. And my baby popped out so hard and fast. They caught her and everything, but I thought they pulled her out. I told my doula and the doctors, and I was like, oh my God. After she came out, I was like, you pulled her out? They pulled her out? I can't believe it. My doula was like, no, they didn't pull her out. You pushed her out that hard. So that's my final tip. When it's time to push, don't come to play. We did not come to play. We came to push this baby out, and we're not going to be here all day. Because I feel like the longer that you're there, the more pain you're going to be. And I'm not saying rush it, because the contractions come in waves, and you make progress. When it's time to push each contraction, you push the baby down, and it's a little progress until it's the threshold, and then pop, the baby comes out. So yes, there's a couple pushes. I don't want you to try to rush it. But during the pushing time, my personal tip, you don't have to listen to me, because some people say their babies fall out. My friend actually told me that. She was like, when it was time to push, my baby came out. Yeah, the contractions help push the baby out. That's true. But I guess I wasn't in the right zone for my baby to just fall out. I had to push. And I don't want you to copy me, but after I had the baby, I had actually busted blood vessels, like tiny pinpoint ones, like all around my face. You couldn't see them unless you were like up there and looking. But that was from the pushing. Do I regret it? Not even a little. I don't regret it at all. I had a good birth from start to finish. If you want to hear the birth story, I can make another video. I'm not a YouTuber, but I wanted to make this video for anyone looking for the tips, because when I was pregnant, I was looking for the tips. I didn't know where to turn. So I just kept looking them up on YouTube, watching video after video after video. I hope this video helps you. I really hope this video helps you. If this has to be the last video you ever watch, I'd be honored. But chances are you're probably going to be watching so many other videos. So enjoy the videos. Take them for what they are. A lot of the times I tell myself, because that's what's triggering. If something goes wrong in somebody else's birth, do not take it to heart and do not think that's going to happen to you. That will not happen to you. Everyone has their own story. So during your birth, relax. Go with the flow. You're going to do great. Okay? All right. Have a good day, love.